In this video, I'd like to give a brief overview of square numbers and square roots, and also cube numbers and cube roots. So first of all, let's remind ourselves what a square number is. So a square number, if we look at the square numbers, the first square number is going to be 1 squared, which is 1 times 1, which is 1. Then we have 2 squared, 2 times 2, which is 4. So our second square number is 4. 3 squared, 3 times 3, 9. 4 squared, 4 times 4, 16, and so on. So we need to know the first 12 square numbers. So just continuing this, we're going to have 5 squared, 25, 6 squared, 36, 49, 64, and then 9 squared is 81, 10 squared is 100, 11 squared is 121, 12 squared is 144. So we have to know these. We also have cube numbers, and a cube number is simply a number multiplied by itself 3 times. So 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. 3 cubed, 3 times 3 times 3, 27. 4 cubed, 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. And then 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125, because 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5, 125. Now, when you learnt about adding numbers in primary school, you would have been taught that subtraction is the opposite or the inverse of addition. And the same way, when we have squaring, so squaring a number, so if I want to square the number 4, I would say 4 squared is 64. The inverse of squaring is square rooting. So I can say the inverse of squaring is square rooting. And the way I write a square root is sort of like a bus stop. And this is a mistake, sorry. 4 squared is 16, not 64. My apologies. So the way we write it is sort of like a bus stop. So if I wanted to say the square root of 16, that would be the number which I need to square to get 16. So the number I square to get 16. And we know from what I've just written that number is 4. So I would say the square root of 16 is 4. Similarly, the square root of, say, 36, well, if you look back at the list of our square numbers, you should know that the 6th square number is 36, which means that 6 squared is 36, so the square root of 36 is 6. So could you please have a go at these? So pause the video, have a go. What is the square root of 49? What is the square root of 121? What is the square root of 144? So pause the video, have a go, then resume the video. So we should have 7, 11, and 12 for those. So we also looked at cube numbers. Well, very similar. The inverse of cubing a number is cube rooting. So the inverse of cubing is cube rooting. So if I take 3, or let's take a different number, let's say I take 4 and I cube it, well, that's going to be 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. So to say the cube root, we do a little tick sign like before, but we have a little 3. So the cube root of 64 is the number that I need to cube to get 64, which is 4. So, can you use your list of cube numbers to work out the following cube roots? So, cube root of 125, cube root of 8, and cube root of 1. Can you have a go at these for me? So, pause the video, have a go, and then when you're ready for the answer, press play. So, for the first one, we should have 5, because the number that I need to cube to get 125 is 5. For the second one, we should have 2, because the number that I have to cube to get 8 is 2. The last one is 1, because the number that I cube to get 1 is 1. So with that in mind, we should now be able to have a go at some of the math swatch questions. And to find those, I'm just going to open them up here. So if you'd like, you can have a look on Math Swatch. This is called Powers and Roots Optional, and have a go at them on your own, or we can go through them together. So if we want to go through them together, the sixth square number, that is going to be 6 squared, which is 6 times 6, which is 36. The ninth square number is 9 squared, which is 9 times 9, which is 81. Now, as we've just done, that little tick sign means square root. So that means the number that I need to square, or times by itself, to get 64. And we should know from our list of square numbers that that number is 8. So the square root of 64 is 8. That little 3 on top of the tick means that we cube root, and we ask ourselves, what number do I multiply by itself 3 times to get 27? Well, that number is 3. So the answer there would be 3. The cube root of 27 is 3. For the next one, it's a bit trickier. We have a square root and then a cube root. So the square root of 121, if you look at your list of square numbers, is the number that I have to square to get 121, which is 11. The cube root of 125 is the number that I have to cube, so times by itself 3 times to get 125. Look at your list of cube numbers. That number has got to be 5. So the cube root of 125 is 5. So hopefully that clarifies square roots and cube roots, as well as squares and cubes, obviously. If there's any other problems, please do let me know.